Be patient. Don't be impatient. As a young person, everything has to be done immediately.
Second, I think other thing is that be logical.
She told me, Sandhya, I want you to make a career wheel.
In your career, any advice which your mentor or boss had given which got stuck with you?
Be patient. Don't be impatient. As a young person, everything has to be done immediately. So one boss had told me in HLL those days that don't be in a hurry all the time. Be patient. And of course, lack of patience leads to short-temperedness. Many of us get angry very fast. Chota sa kuch ho gaya, we become angry. That is short-temperedness. And that doesn't help because anger doesn't generate any revenue. Anger doesn't generate any return whatsoever. So patience is good. If you're an entrepreneur, patience is more important. Nothing happens overnight. If you're a leader, again, patience is very important. Keep giving your best. This is what I think. Keep giving your best. Keep trying. Display your IQ and EQ simultaneously all the time and be patient. And don't be short-tempered.
So when you work in the corporate, you get a ratings, performance appraisal ratings, 1, 2, 3, 4. So if I go to 1, 2, 3, 4, so my first rating was the second lowest. So I went to my boss and asked, what should I do? He should have simply told, have a maturity. So I'm following still that advice, have a maturity.
Okay.
I don't think any other day, because many times people work but they take in humors or casual. People don't take them seriously. So I think he gave me that advice, that have a maturity. Second, I think other thing is that be logical. So nothing is like everything is scientific. Nothing is like you say, okay, unless promoter wants, okay, it's my guts. Otherwise, everything works on the logic. So as long as you can develop your logical ability to understand the thing, more and more people having the good bonding, learning aptitude, having a like respect for each other.
One career advice, I think this was from Anita Baducci. She used to be my mentor at one point in time. She told me, Sandhya, I want you to make a career wheel and make a list of all the experiences that you want to have in life. And actually for me it was a very deep exercise because I sat down and actually made a career wheel saying what are the experiences I have, what are my white spaces. For example, tax was a white space, controllership was a white space. So I created that. This was like 10, 12 years back, I think, or even before that. So I created all the white spaces in my career. And then I worked on gaining those experiences. For example, I've never done a tax role, but every role that I have done, I have tried to take responsibility for managing tax outcomes in that role. So worked closely with the tax team, taken responsibility for actions on taxation. So in a way, I was able to color that tax box in my career wheel. So that this entire career wheel concept has been always very useful for me from the time I do it. I think I kind of filled it up at some point in time about 4 or 5 years back. Only that listed CFO was pending, which now is complete. So now I have drawn a new career wheel for myself. So that was something that maybe I can.
So, I've been fortunate to work with a lot of good leaders, including the other is don't put all your eggs in one basket. And I cite this because I've realized, right, sometimes you get too emotional about situations and you're counting on, it's like if this doesn't happen, it's life or death. I feel if you have the ability to evaluate your options, if you have the ability to think broader, you will always see that look, you are receiving opportunities that help you grow, that help you also allow others to grow, as opposed to just depending on one single option saying this is it and I'm going to be always in this. I think it's about that part, which is why I say don't put all your eggs in one basket, right? I mean, for me, this is not only about being, talking about professionally, but also talking personally. It's always good to have options on your hand and be fair, right? Not that you're going to be unfair while you have your options on hand. Be fair and be realistic and be open to say that, look, this doesn't work or that doesn't work for you. Another thing which I did mention, right, you will see opportunities in adversities, because often what happens is, if you start to face challenges and if you play the role of getting into a challenge to solve it, you will find that, look, that mantra will help you lifelong. So these are a few things that some of my leaders, help me inculcate, and fortunately they work well for me.
So the one thing I got early on was, and again, as a woman, you're usually thinking 4 steps ahead, saying, so any role change, what happens later, if I have a baby, and if, will I be able to do this? Can I move out of the country? What happens to a dual career couple, etc., etc. So you're always thinking about all of that. And there was one piece of advice that I got, which I found very useful, which is to say, don't start planning for various scenarios today. Cross the bridge when you get there, because by the time you get to the point where you worry about some of these things, your life stages largely, things may have worked themselves out already. So I think that was probably one really good career advice. And related to it was, the other one was saying, don't have too many variables up in the air. So you need to decide on what are your non-negotiables when you're looking at, any kind of a career move. Stick with them and be flexible with everything else. Because if everything is up in the air, then you're always trying to, decide, and you won't be able to come to a decision saying this is what I want. But if you have a few non-negotiables, saying it definitely has to contain this, or it definitely has to, even be in a location or in this company or in this role, then it becomes a lot simpler. Then it's easier for you to navigate, because then what remains is something that you then need to decide, saying, is it bearable, not bearable, what can I do?
First thing when I heard, this was almost 30 years ago, when I was trying to move from ITC to Weavers, and I was trying to give some gyan on why I was going, and something about motivation and not being motivated enough. Then that person looked at me, and a senior leader, and I said, why does motivation have to be external? Why are you searching for external factors? Because at the end of the day, it has to come from within, and you have to create that energy, that excitement, and that motivation. It didn't connect to me then, but over the years when I look back, it's absolutely right. I cannot depend on some external factor to give me that energy, excitement, motivation. It will have to come within. So that's stuck with me. One person said many years later when I was working with him, look, everybody works hard. So why should only you be recognized versus others? Everyone, a lot of us have this pet peeve of saying, हम तो काम करते हैं, तुम भी करते हो, तुम्हारे बाजू वाला भी करता है, तुम्हारे सामने वाली लड़की भी करती है, सब काम करते हैं. So his pitch to me was, do a good job and then tell a good story. Right? तभी जाके लोग, you will break out of the clutter to say, why are you? And he said, don't be naive. That is world. That is reality. I think that simplicity of the message and that stop being naive, I think, really resonated. So first do a good job. That's a sequence, and then tell a good story. Yeah, absolutely. Why? A few years later, somebody said, listen, how do you grow? Because each one of us has this classical question of how do you get to the next level? And someone gave me a very simple answer. He said, can you replace your boss? Can you do everything that your boss is doing? And if in today's position, if you're able to do everything your boss is doing, you're already operating at that level. Right? Simple and easy to understand. Right? And therefore do. And I said, as latest as last week, as you keep getting senior, you want to, you always have something else to look at. Environment is bad, something else has happened. And I think my boss said something like, never a victim, never in denial. Right? which again I thought is extremely powerful. So again, at senior levels, you're not a victim of your circumstances, and be brutally honest about what is the truth. So don't be a victim and don't be in denial.
You live a long life. बहुत चीजें होती है. A lot of things. I remember I joined the private sector. Everybody was saying आप private में जा रहे हैं, private में नौकरी जा सकती है, ये है वो है. मैंने कहा देख लेंगे, काम कर रहे हैं, जिसको मेहनत करना है उसको कोई problem नहीं होगा. So I had joined a company called Cigna. Cigna Healthcare had come into the country in 2001, and we had to go make a presentation. And I went and made a presentation which was very factual. But it was factual, it was also stating problems without stating solutions. Okay. I was very young, I was just about maybe 14-15 years of experience, and I went to make a presentation at a global platform, and it was a very good presentation. Everybody loved it, everybody congratulated me, but it was not what the management wanted to hear. So they took a decision to close Cigna down at that time, and I was out of a job. They came back into the country, several years back, but 20, 25 years, 23 years back, 24 years back, they closed it. That was when I really understood, through a very, very significantly impactful experience, that it is not about just speaking the truth. It's not about just making the right assessment and presenting. When you are in a leadership position, it is your responsibility to find a solution. You can't go to your higher authorities, to the board or to senior management, saying that ये रेगुलेटरी रिस्ट्रिक्शन है और ये प्रॉब्लम है और ये प्रॉब्लम है और ये प्रॉब्लम है. हाँ, but if this was the objective that the company wanted to achieve, do you have a solution and a path to achieve that? That's why you are in a leadership position. So I think it was a lesson very well learned very early on in my life, that you don't go with problems. There is an objective. अगर senior management को, board को, at a board level, if they had to solve problems for you, then you don't deserve to be a senior leader. Yeah, I think it's a very important point. Like, don't bring only the problems, bring also solution. You may seek support. Like हम बोल सकते हैं कि this XYZ I need in order to achieve that, but not coming up with solution. Then it is like just throwing our problems is your goal. So that's a very important point for listeners out there. Whenever you are wanting a critical decision, go with a problem, go with suggested options or solutions. That is the key takeaway